Hi everyone, welcome to Cake and It's Special. My name is Lauren and this week I have made Scar from the Disney classic The Lion King. So here we go. So to start this cake I took a picture of Scar's face and I traced it several times onto parchment paper. I have two 10-inch vanilla cakes that I stacked using vanilla buttercream in the centre. I take one of my drawings of Scar and I place it on top of the cake so that I can carve out the basic shape. Next I cut the face out of my template so that just leaves the main, and I can place this on top of the cake and I can carve around the inside so that I have a perfect outline of Scar's face. Now I can use my knife to cut away cake around where I've just scored in the face. Now I can start rounding off the mane. Next I take my template and I cut away the mouth so that I can put the nose and the eyes in the correct place. I take some of my cake offcuts and use my template to cut out pieces of the nose and the mouth to raise them up. When I'm happy with all that, it gives the whole thing a crumb coat. I then put this cake in the fridge for around 20 minutes and give it a second layer of buttercream before moving on to fondant. When I'm happy that that is set, I cover the whole cake in a layer of black fondant. I take my time to make sure that I push the fondant in all the places that I've carved away cake. Next I take some fondant in the colour of Scar's face that I made using some orange, some brown and some ivory. And I use my template once again to cut around the face. I can then stick this on top of the cake with just a little bit of water. I use my sculpting tool to push in the eye sockets and fur lines. Next I use my sculpting tools to draw in the facial features, keeping an eye on my template at all times. Once that is done, I fill in the eye sockets with some yellow fondant. I take some more of my scar coloured fondant and make a ball that I flatten. I use my balling tool to thin out the centre and then cut it in half. These will become the ears. Then I can cut a tiny piece of the cake away on either side of the head to stick on the ears. At this point I decided that I wanted the mane to be bigger, so I rolled out cords of black fondant that are thinner at both ends and stick them on. Just keep in mind where you put the smaller ones and the bigger ones and which directions they will all naturally fall. I also use the handle of my sculpting tool to texture the mane further. Now I can start adding some colour. So I darken out around the eyes and the ears with some brown, also on the nose. I mix together some cream food gel with white food gel and dilute that down with a little bit of clear food grade alcohol to paint the mouth area. This will need a couple of layers, but it's important to let the previous layer completely dry. I roll out some thin strips of black fondant to go around the eyes, again just sticking everything in place with water. I dilute some black food gel with clear food grade alcohol and paint the nose and the eyebrow area. Next I take some green fondant and use a plunger cutter for the eyes and use more of my black paint for the pupils. I use a darker blend of my cream and white food gel for the scar on scar. Next I cover the board in a layer of the green fondant that I used for the eyes and then use a couple of dry dust to go over the board. I thought it would look cool like the video in Be Prepared. can now give the mouth another layer of paint. Then finally I can take some dry black dust and go around the lines that I've scored in, just to give it a bit more depth. And just use a little bit of white for the catch lights in the eyes and just a few strands of the hair. And there he is, my scarf cake. Thank you so much for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please do subscribe to this channel. It means the world to me. I bring you a new tutorial every single Wednesday at 5 PM GMT. So hopefully I'll see you next week. Thanks guys, bye!